Hello and welcome to our Banter Blitz Wednesday evening. At least in Europe it's evening. Yeah, I hope this works all right. No, it's not really the choice of the streamer if I do live stream on YouTube. When I started out with doing the shows, live stream was basically the one that they wanted me to use, and I keep using it. So I would rather do YouTube, but this is something that works now and we continue to use, I think. So let's see. I want to definitely get some games going. I prefer 5 minutes, but if you want to do 3, I also take those challenges. I think it's just I should terminate that Claudia game, right? In 5 minutes you can a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier to do the explanations. So who do we play? I'm going to start with Hansen here. He's currently in the chat and asked that question. So let's get going here with Hansen. D4. Okay. I will aim for my Benko gambit that I'm currently exploring. I think it's a really good opening for blitz chess. In tournament chess, of course, also playable, but it is a bit risky if you face a very strong opponent. And in blitz, yeah, the activity counts more. Yeah, hi also to Tiger Prowls, Bliss, Luke, all you guys in the chat. Yeah, E3 played by Hansen. This is a bit conservative. I hope that I maybe get in a double pawn on the C file. Even though you have to be a bit cautious there. Sometimes taking on C3 is killing the dark squares, and have to be on the lookout that you're not getting some piece to D6 or something like that. Currently, my opponent is thinking for quite a while. So bishop D3. Now I can actually take the knight. I'm not sure about all this. I also have a move like D5, which isn't all that bad. Okay, I'll just castle. I'm really not all that sure if I should take on C3. Maybe the execution, no, the threat is stronger than the execution, right? Is it execution? That sounds really mean, but probably this is what is that Nimzowitsch, what Nimzowitsch said. I think that is Nimzowitsch, right? So D5, I'm just playing in the center. Yeah, I can take on C4. This is the simple way of doing it. And now maybe Queen G7 for Rook D8. Night Fight asks if I may suggest good lines for white against the King's Indian defense and the Queen's Indian defense. Whoa, this is more a question for Jan's opening clinic probably. I'm not sure that I can do that in the within the limits of this show. I can tell you what I like. If you want to play in a very sharp and principled way against the King's Indian, the Makagonov variation with H3 is very popular and dangerous for black. I have to say it's also a bit dangerous for white. I recently lost with that to a much lower rated player with white. It was a sharp position, but it didn't do me anything good. It's however very dangerous for black, so H3 against the King's Indian is good. But there are many lines to choose from. Against the Queen's Indian defense, I would probably advise to just play G3. There are some other options, of course. You can play A3, the Petrosian system, but I think G3 is probably the most promising one. All the play there will be normally rather strategic, so it's something that you have to be aware of in the Queen's Indian. It's not so easy in the Queen's Indian to get a dynamic position. It's not so easy. This is easier in the Nimzo, for example. There are some options that are much sharper. Sorry for my voice. I have a slight cold, And okay, bishop d3 is a problem. The hanging knight is not so much an issue. f5 he can take. Pretty embarrassing. It's a good position here for Mr. Hansen. How am I going to handle this here? Probably with bishop d7, bishop to e8, something like that. Don't like my position at all. Bishop c3, bishop d3, those kind of things. Yeah, I don't see a really good move here. I'm sorry for the drinking. I probably have to do quite a bit of that during the session because my voice otherwise would be just completely go down. Yeah? So bishop c3 here played by Hansen. Yeah, bishop e8 was my idea. Queen g4, yeah? Queen g4. Maybe I have to do this one, but I don't like it. Not at all. What do I think about the Urusov gambit? The Urusov gambit is e4, e5, bishop c4, knight f6, d4. That's interesting, but it does not have really a huge point because black can always transpose into lines that are okay for him, like in the two knights defense. So it's interesting if you get it on the board, but against many black players you won't. Yeah, I don't like my position here. I have weakened my king side quite a bit. Very well played by my opponent here, M. Hansen. Yeah, I know. I think I have to close that diagonal. Yeah. I'm not happy here. I really am not. Knight e4 is really not nice to face. And f5 looks extremely weakening. Anyway, Bill asked why I prefer 1c4 instead of knight f3. Well, it's not a matter of preference. It's just there are some differences between the two. I've done this English repertoire based on 1c4. Of course, you can also go knight f3. The difference is that knight f3 is limiting some options for white, which does not mean it's bad. It's just that there are some things possible after 1c4 that are not possible in after knight f3. In particular, there's more flexibility in regards to the knight. Knight can come to e2, for example. Yeah, I really hate this position. Yeah, knight f3, for example, against the King's Indian, you are somewhat limited. Yeah, don't get me wrong, in a neutral way. It's not bad or worse or anything. I personally, in my own games over the board, I play knight f3 most of the time because I didn't like c4, e5 all that much. But after studying this a bit more for the English series, I have to say that there are many interesting options after 1c4, e5. So I don't mind it that much anymore. Luke says he has problems with the stream. Yeah, I can say that live stream gives me a perfect streaming evaluation. it's very strange. For some people it doesn't work. For some it does work. I think for the majority it is okay, but it's not a given that it works somehow. This is why I said I don't love live stream all that much. Okay, this does not lead to that much. But White had time issues, of course. It was a very well played game by Hansen for the most part. Yeah, I think you outplayed me there. That looked very, very good. Reloading usually does help. Yeah, the Rusov gambit is d4. Is e4. Sorry about that. Can I do that actually? I'm not. Yeah, this is the Rusov gambit, just to make things clear. This kind of opening. But the problem is, I mean, Black does not have to snatch the pawn. He can also just play this and go to a perfectly fine 2 knights. And yeah, this is a practical choice that I usually go for. Bishop b4 is also quite good. So let's see, who do I play? I want to go, if possible, with guys I haven't played before. So playing Alexander Potler. Alexandre, probably. Portier. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm going c4. Yeah. I'm not going to do that all stream, but I'm starting with a bit of my repertoire. Yeah, thanks, Hansen, for the game. Yeah, Bill, you're right. I see your points. c4, g3 is also committal in some way. It's just different. There is no quality difference. You get mostly different lines. In some cases, you get things that are very similar. Sometimes it's different. For example, I have a huge part of my repertoire is c4, c6, which leads to the Retty gambit with knight f3, g3. This is something that you can very easily can get from both move orders, from knight f3 or from 1 c4. I've played this a lot over the board, and usually it was from one knight f3, not from c4. It's a matter of choice. If you like knight f3 more, you can still use some of my repertoire, but there are just differences. I mean, one thing is in all c4, c5, there's a g3 commitment with my repertoire, and this is not necessary. If you play knight f3, c5, c4, you can also play with d4. Generally speaking, if you play with knight f3, I think in some cases you need to maybe need a little bit more concrete knowledge of specific lines. 1 c4 can be played in some cases with more of a, let's say, general idea about it. And if you play knight f3, there are some cases where you basically have to play d4. And if you want to play for something, it all comes down to taste, or what kind of thing you want to allow, what do you want to prevent. For many players, c4, e5 in itself is kind of unacceptable for white, so they play knight f3. This is what I did for years. Yeah, so here, this is a Retty position where not all that much is happening. Black managed to open up the position here on the queen side, which is certainly quite helpful for him. I wonder how to do this. It's probably very equalish, this position. Very equalish. Yeah. I don't know. I want to try something. Maybe I can put the knight on c3. I have a pretty high CPU load, and that is kind of weird. Going to close some application. Maybe this is helping. I don't have Okay, I should probably close chess base. This is a huge resource eater. Sorry about that. There shouldn't be any other CPU problems. Okay, so let's have a look. I wanted to go knight c3 here. Okay, e5 isn't a problem, so let's try. Okay, you can go bishop a6, right? It looks a little bit artificial, but what else, yeah? Okay, he goes up. I was thinking knight b5, but if I do that, knight b5, yeah, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. I maybe have some chances against the b4 pawn in this position. Let's see how he plays it. Oh, he does that. I didn't think about this move all that much, but it's not bad. Yeah, I probably don't have all that much here. Knight e5, knight c6, knight takes b4. This would be cool, yeah. But he probably will play knight d7 anyway. Okay, so I wonder, maybe bishop h3 is interesting here in this position, so that after e5 I can take d7. No, actually after e5 I can take e5, so I prevent e5 here. Okay, this is interesting. At least for the moment I'm preventing this. And now knight d2 intending to attack it, maybe. Knight g5 isn't doing all that much. Okay, if I go here, king e7 blunders this pawn. Okay, now if I go knight c2, he has to go knight to a6. That looks not very desirable. But he cannot do anything, cannot do much anyway, so I can improve this a little bit first. Okay, e5 doesn't help him at all. Maybe get this back and prepare knight c2, later e3, d4. I only have one idea. Maybe get this pawn. Maybe get this pawn. My idea is knight c2. Okay, so knight c2, I'm attacking this. Knight a6, and then I go d4, intending e3, take a6, take b4. So this is my idea here, to play for a little something. It's really a little something. It's not a lot. So he covered it like that. But I have knight f3, e1, d3. He might play bishop to c6. To be ready if I go knight e1, d3 to play the bishop to c6. But I have knight e1, then I threaten to take, and then knight d3. That should win the pawn. So maybe I can really win the pawn. Thing I don't like is my king is not participating. But you cannot have it all. Okay, this tries for knight a5, I guess. Yeah, that's a bit of a nuisance. Taking is wrong. That is probably saving him here. Okay, my time. I have to check the time out. 30 seconds. That's a big issue actually. Oops. Ooh. I didn't check for the time. Yeah, he will get this back, of course. And the time is an issue here. It is a draw, but he's allowing me some things here at least. Okay. Still a draw, of course, but now it's not a draw. Whew. Okay. I wasn't really expecting to win this, but that was a very close game and very well played, I think, by my opponent. It was probably equal all the way until he blundered in with no time on the clock. Okay, so I have to take this one. Kosaken-Zipfel. I have to accept that one. If you don't know what a Kosaken-Zipfel is, you're missing out on something. Okay, so Kosaken-Zipfel, what are you going to play? Here we go. Oh, okay. C4 was a bit surprising. Yeah, I'm happy with the trade of the bishop because my control over d4 now is very, very nice. So he wants to go with b4, but okay, he needs to spend the tempo at first. Okay, so is there some way to prevent that? Probably not, huh? No. But okay, when he has to move the queen again, I mean, I don't think he wants to take. Kosaken-Zipfel is something from a famous German comedy, from a sketch by a famous German comedian, and it is really funny. Okay, so what to do? I try to attack b4 here, I guess. That looks like the thing to do. The b4 pawn looks weak. Yeah, his bishops, they don't do all that much. So I think I'm taking the pawn here. It's just a pawn, I think, with no particular compensation. Okay, this is a double attack. Listen, wrong. It attacks the knight, but there's also some pressure on b5. Yeah, maybe this one for knight c5. So knight c5, I guess, but maybe queen to b4. This is also not bad. Let's do it. Yeah, the Kakan Cul sketch is in German, of course, so if you don't understand German, it's probably a little bit difficult, yeah. And you can try out anyway, but it's probably difficult to follow what's going on. I was thinking e5, but I'm not sure about it now that I look at this. I think I rather want to keep this. d4, there's knight a4 and then knight c3, this kind of thing. Kakan Cul, a double brewed beer. I don't know. I actually think that there is no such thing. This is just an invention. The Kakan Cul doesn't really exist as far as I know. Yeah, I'm not quite sure how to convert here. If he goes queen b3, yeah. I mean, this cannot be bad, but how do I win exactly? Don't see a very clean way forward. Maybe e5, if he takes it. Yeah, maybe e5 is an idea. So if he takes it, I take with the bishop, and then I get knight c5 to make the b-pawn mobile again. I think e5 is good. Darzani wants to know if I intend to play any tournament soon. Yeah, I have something in 2.5 weeks. Oh, rook c7. I could have played rook c7. It's a small 5-round weekend tournament in Lemgo. It's relatively near where I live, like 2-hour drive. So it's not a particularly strong event. The main focus of it is to have some fun with club mates who also play. Yeah, now everything's cool. I can take now. I even have bishop h6 coming up. How to do this? Yeah, let's go f5. Get everything immobilized. And my idea is to play e4 and then bring the rook around, rook a8 to a1. Yeah, good defense here by Kakan Cul. It's not going to be all that easy. I'm now trying to bring the king up here and maybe win the d5 pawn. Yeah, maybe knight c3 is possible. He's got b1 covered quite a bit. Yeah, bishop f6, d8 to a5 is something that I have planned. I hope I'm not getting checkmated. Yeah, that I have no square here for my king. I have to be quite cautious that I'm not running into some kind of crazy mate. So now the bishop is activated that way, and I think I win d5 now. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Huh. Didn't really think about that. Ah, yes, bishop a2. Okay. He lost on time. A good game here by Kakan Cul, very well defended after he got into trouble in the opening. I really didn't do all that well, yeah, converting it. So I'm going to play mostly guys that I haven't played before. So here playing against Luke. Okay. If I play the Sicilian, that's usually either some kind of swindle at the end or some downright catastrophe, because I have no real clue what's going on. So Luke seems to be a theoretically well-versed player. Huh. I have no idea here. I really know. Okay with the pawn. Whew. Really, I have no idea what's going on. I think I will castle long, that much I know. Even though you can argue that short castling isn't all that bad. Yeah, I wonder what I do after knight c6. Knight f5 looks attractive, but he might just take it and play queen a5, and then I don't know if I recover that pawn. Or I mean, I think I'm losing it, and I don't know how I recover it. Stream isn't good today. Yeah, it's really difficult for me to judge that, the stream quality. I think I'm castling short. Yeah, I'm happy to play the bullfrog with black if someone wants to do that. This is d4, knight f6, g4. Okay, I castled short because I thought, well, with the bishop on g3, the king should be relatively safe. And I'm not so sure where black's king is going to go to ultimately. If you ask me, and maybe you do, this looks very strange for black. So I'm grabbing this pawn. Yeah, Alexander, you played very well, I think. Yeah, that was the Retty opening where I had nothing ever. So that was a very well played game, I think. It was mostly about the time was the decisive factor there, not what you played. I think I can take here, right? If he takes it, I have rook e1. This is maybe a bit more powerful than rook e1 first. Yeah, I'm sorry for that, but I have to constantly get something from my throat. Yeah, he cannot take because of rook e1, and I'm threatening rook e1. Yeah, here there's queen g7, even though, I mean, he cannot take anyway. Queen g7, he might have queen h7, this is the thing. And then I have to trade queens. And I don't really like to. Queen c5 probably doesn't work. I can just go to d2, of course. Maybe this is the right way to do it. Trading queens, I don't like. Okay, so rook e1 looks like the most normal choice. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, he takes on c2. Okay, so bishop takes e7 also is very much an option. But okay, let's play the normal stuff. So queen c2. I can take and play knight d4, but maybe he can castle long. It also doesn't feel like it's the best continuation somehow. Queen e3. Yeah, this is actually not bad, right? If he castles long, I just go back to g3. Queen b6 will kill him, I think. And if he doesn't castle long, what is he playing? I mean, I'm taking e7 then. Long castle seems very likely. Yeah, then bishop g3, queen b6, knight c5. This should be a disaster for black. I'm not behind on the clock anymore, but it's still lots of time spent. Is there football tonight? Soccer? Isn't I think we have Borussia Mönchengladbach playing Barcelona, right? That should be interesting. I don't think I can watch it. It's not on any TV station that I have. Plus I have to teach. Okay, anyway, rook d3. Okay, I think, I see. He wants to take the bishop. But if I go here, I'm threatening mate, and I'm threatening f5 with check. I can still take. I was thinking he takes, I take f5, but then the queen protects it. Okay. But at least I can recapture with the queen on g3. So the h file does not open. He can play rook d7 actually. I really didn't see that the queen is protecting this. So he has covered this bloody bishop. I wasn't able to win this bishop. That's pretty awful. And then all this didn't make any sense, to be perfectly honest with you. Jesus. Okay, and then I grab stuff now. So this is not all that great. And he is quite quick. I cannot, okay. I actually managed some moves, but he was just too quick for me. Bayern Atletico Madrid, that's also pretty cool. Yes, I'm a full-time chess teacher and let's say content producer, yeah, doing videos and other things. So do we have some opponents here that I have not yet played? Luhan Green. Let's play Luhan Green. So let's go. Luhan Green. Luhan Green. That's Richard Wagner, right? Luhan Green. So we have an English opening here. And I like this kind of position. It's not that easy for black to come up with a clear plan here. While white has a relatively clear plan, I want to keep the center closed and play on the flanks. Yeah, that was a good game by Luke. I think I should probably win early on, but I couldn't. I just couldn't find anything, and then he was hanging in there the whole time. This is an important quality. Yeah, to still be tough in a worse position. As long as the game continues and you keep fighting, you will always have some kind of chance. This is a bit of a bad spot for black. I'm threatening to take and play f4 with strong pawns in the center, and b6 doesn't work because of e5. Yeah, this is the idea that white often has. I have a very stable center, and I can use the flank pawns because the center is so stable. Yeah, give me the bishop pair, please. Okay. This knight does not have any squares left. That's it for the knight, I think. Okay, wants to take on h3. I think, is that possible? Maybe queen e1 is an idea, because the knight doesn't have any squares anyway, so I have the time here. Yeah, I'm glad that you like my English series. It doesn't help. It doesn't help for playing the black piece, unfortunately. And no, I've never met Mark Dvoretsky. I think very few German players probably had that privilege. He worked with the German national team at one point for some training sessions, but I've never met him. Yeah, the knight is trapped. Okay, probably this for a couple more trades. Yeah, okay, so Luhan Green resigned. Yeah, that was a very unlucky spot that he got in. It looked like a perfectly normal opening, but all of a sudden after b4 it was quite awkward because you cannot really prevent me from getting the strong pawns there in the center. A bit surprising how tricky that got all of a sudden. So do we have someone I have not played? Koval. I haven't played Koval. Let's go Koval. I have to click here, right? Okay. Okay, I've got black here against Koval from Poland. Let's get going. Let's go for the Kalashnikov. I have looked at this really a bit, like 1.5 years ago, but can't remember. I simply can't remember. This is a reason why I do produce some of those opening videos and other content. It really makes me study things, and I can actually remember them if I looked at them in some reasonable detail, so that it is publishable. That also means that for me that I know the opening. This is really helping me. So I can actually queen b6, queen 2, queen b6, queen b2. So I'm going to grab that. One important thing is this grabbing of pawns on b2. This is often viewed quite suspiciously, and I understand, but don't underestimate that it's also an important part of of White's pawn structure. So he has a worse pawn structure than he had before. Maybe rook b1 now. Oh. Is that some kind of perpetual on the queen? I don't think so. Oh, he went knight e4. Okay. f5. I would really like to not lose the queen. Okay, I think I'm just going back. Knight g5 is in the mix, but I have g6. It doesn't really feel very threatening. I wonder if queen to e3 is actually a move to irritate him. The queen looks quite safe there. And I'm looking at all kinds of things here. e2, e4. Knight on e5 is securing the queen. Maybe I have b5 as a threat now. Okay, so don't allow a checkmate. He might have no rook e4. I can take the knight. So that's safe. Oh, whoa, that's a very nice shot here by Koval. Whoa, didn't see that coming at all. What the beep? I might still be okay here because of that extremely strong e5 knight. and I already have a pawn for the exchange. However, I clearly never intended to get this position. Yeah, f5 or not? That's the thing. Probably yes. I need. Oh, that's a very direct move, but it weakens a lot. Knight e4 looks. Oh, knight e4 now looks very strong. Knight g3 is a huge threat now. Okay, so giving up the exchange here immediately. This is probably best. Okay, so he does not avoid this ending, and it should be a win for black, really. Let's see. I can go all the way up here. King d4. I think it should win. I had e3. I wasn't sure. Maybe e3 was an option. Maybe he can go g4 now, actually. If I take a couple of times, he has c5 at the end. Maybe. g4, knight takes, bishop takes, king takes, c5. Okay, didn't happen. Let's prevent c5. Yeah, I think this is okay now. I should have sufficient control. I can also take it, by the way, as c4 is hanging. Maybe I could have taken earlier. So how to win? Yeah, a couple of ways, but this looks good. Just take this pawn and promote. Okay, that got prevented. Maybe not pre-move this. You might play c5. Yeah, this should promote. Yeah, Koval shouldn't be able to talk himself out of this. Yeah, very well defended this position. It was very tricky out of the opening, but I didn't really manage something convincing, which probably shows that he defended well. So, what do we have? Knight fight, I probably have played, yes. Findels. Haven't played Findels. Let's play Findels. And I can go e4 once again. Yeah, Koval, thanks for the game. Yeah, you're welcome. So Findels, I'm going for an open Sicilian, which is always, not always, but most of the time good for a love. Because I really don't know what's going on. So let's see. I mean, I know that this is a main line of the dragon, and I know that this is a tricky move, but okay, let's do it. I don't expect him to take. He's a FIDE master, right? And now e5, I think, is the move. So I know a bit. I know some things. It's not that I know nothing, but it's isn't there some weird queen sacrifice? This stuff can happen if you have absolutely no clue what's going on. Or, I mean, no clue is maybe too strong, but I have absolutely no real deep knowledge about this. It looks pretty strange. Knight to d5, maybe? Oh. So, what's going on here? Yeah, it's hard not to take the pawn. Yeah? Probably I have to. But yes, 2, 6. It's equal material, actually. Oh my god. Well, then my position sucks big time. I was thinking, I have to be honest there with you. I was thinking I'm a pawn up. Even then I wouldn't like my position, but with equal material it's totally bad. Wow. Wow. Yeah, this is probably lost for white, this position. Anything else would be probably too optimistic. Queen b4, knight b3, a5 is probably winning. Maybe I can go a3 or c3, c3, and then queen g1. c3 is probably better. What the heck? And queen to b1 to g1 was my idea. Try to trade queens, and if he moves the queen to d6, let's say I go knight d4. It's still terrible. It's still pretty terrible. And knight d4, I can just go rook d8. a4, queen c5 is my idea. And then maybe knight to d4. It does not look like I'm getting checkmated in the next 1 or 2 moves. I mean, I might overlook it, but it doesn't look like an immediate mate. Yeah, he takes his time now. Probably this is a critical situation. I'm not quite sure what's best. He also might play just a prophylactic move, something like, let's say, b6. But maybe I'm consolidating. Yeah, he I want to say he heard me, but probably he didn't. So knight d4. Knight d4. Doesn't look all that bad. Okay. So I should have thought about this. What is happening here with my screen? That's really weird here. Some artifacts. So what's going on here? Rook e1 would be good. I shouldn't have taken, I guess. Not sure. Not sure about all this, but maybe rook e1 coming. Okay. Queen to e7. Would like to. Okay. That wasn't good. Not ideal, at least. So I'm attacking the rook and bishop b3. Bishop b3 coming. Drawish position? I don't think so. Not at all, actually. There was a chat comment with the drawish position. It looks pretty difficult to me, this position here. Yeah, he's got b4 coming. This is b4 is extremely dangerous, possibly. If I take it, he just has to bring the queen onto the b2 square. If I get queens traded, I might be slightly better here. My pawn structure is a bit better now, and I have ideas on f7 potentially. No. That doesn't work. Okay, so I somehow swindled myself out of this. It was probably a pretty awful position at the beginning. Okay, next game, the Mutineer. Yeah, Cromlech student, I think the position wasn't drawish because it was opposite colored bishops, of course, but there were some things going on with the kings. No? Hypothetically, is it viewed as cheating to watch the show on Chromecast while playing the host? I don't mind. I assume that this happens once in a while. This is just for fun. I mean, I'm not really having any issue with that. Okay, so that's not so bad here, right? From the London system against the Mutineer. But he's also quite solid if he goes like c6. Looks a bit like a Slav. It's just that I have the bishop on f4. Yeah, not that bad for black. I tried to get e4 in to, yes, let's do it. Maybe I should have played h3 first, but I think if I get this in, I should play it and not waste any time. This is directed against e5 and c5. That's a lot like a Slav. It's just that I haven't played a4, which is nice. Yes, this is interesting, but I think I'll cover the pawn. Not easy for black here to get counterplay. I want to be ready for g4. So if he goes bishop h5, I'll go g4. I also have a3. If you compare it to a Slav, there you don't have a3 because the pawn is on a4 already. So this is quite a nice little difference. Okay. Okay, I'm going to force this issue. I also have, I think, a good idea here in knight d2, c4 to d6, this kind of thing. But he immediately attacks my pawns. Maybe I cannot cover them. Knight d2, c4 to d6. This would really be cool to get in. I wonder how to do it. Come on. Isn't the queen very much in danger of being trapped now? It feels very dangerous to me. I think it's trapped. Rook a1, sorry for that. Rook a1, sorry, rook b1. Yeah, that's the queen. Yeah, there was a mutiny against the queen or something like that. Can you do that? Mutiny against the queen. That's probably more like a coup against the queen. Anyway, I think it has no squares. Okay, Mutineer, got your queen trapped there. I think it was a good game actually up to that point. I think, however, after a3, you probably should just put the bishop back. This is still super solid then. Okay, let's see. Do we have some other guys who haven't played yet? Yes, this one here, Gröck. Maybe that's like Georg. Just the other way around. I'm going to play Kakan. Oh, what do we get? Another Panov. Okay, Panov is interesting. Knight c3, knight c6. Yeah, you're almost hearing the pages turned in the book. Okay, probably not. Let's see what happens. c5. Oh, that's a very early c5. I think e5 should be correct. That seemed very early. So, what to do here? Maybe just develop him. It's hard for him not to take on c6 soonish. If he like moves the queen in the next couple of moves, I have d4 and he's getting chased around with the knight. Okay, so probably directly playing against the pawn here. b4, wow, that was a quick decision. I felt that this is very risky. Yeah, Mutineer, you're welcome. He says thanks for the game in the chat. Yeah, this is getting tricky now, right? Bishop a6 is in and b4 hangs, so that doesn't look too good. I don't really see a good move here. I don't think there's a good move for white, to be honest. Yes, yeah, here I think just c5. Oh wow, yeah, some funky requests. Not from me, but from the other guys in the chat. Okay, I'm taking a second pawn there, being ready for b4 and d4. And or d4, let's say. So just cover that. Maybe he's getting some stuff back here actually, yeah, with knight d5. I should have thought about this a little bit more. Knight d5, bishop b2, queen c5. This, nah, I can take d5. It should be okay, but it looks a little bit shaky here. Okay, I think here I can also do this. I don't have to take. Keeping a bit of tension here is probably good. There's some discussion if you can watch this stream at school. Well, what can I say? There are probably classes where this makes sense. Koval says, I used to play with my friend under the desk at school. That sounds a little bit dirty, to be honest, but I think he clarifies it and says with the pocket chess set. Okay, here rook c2. Get the rook activated. Yeah, one thing I know, back then when I was at school, we didn't have any smartphones or any mobile phones. It's just, yeah, it's more than 20 years ago, obviously. I know if I would have smartphones back then, I would probably played against the computer all of the time at school. I'm very sure about that. So here, he's got knight e7 and he attacks my pawn. Huh, that's bad. That's also bad. It's still knight e7. Okay. This stream started an hour ago and will still... Oh yeah, 1 hour 20 ago almost. I will be on for roughly 15 more minutes. So let's see, I think I can also do it like that. It really doesn't matter much. It's a second pawn. Okay, how to do it? I didn't threaten to take there. Just that rook b2 kind of blocks my own pawn, which makes it look a little bit stupid. Knight e4 maybe. Okay, so I should somehow be able to convert this pawn eventually. Okay, good game by, I think, Georg. It's probably the right name. Okay, let's see. I think I only played guys that I haven't played ever before, so this is good. Here we have a challenge here from Argentina. Mariucci. Yeah, I'm waiting for a bit, but not for too long. I think it's unfair for the other challenges to wait for too long. I have a couple of guys waiting. Okay, so I'm stopping this. You can challenge me easily again if you like. Findels is writing, that was a dragon game where I probably was very lucky. After bishop d3 I should play a5. Very likely. Yeah, you certainly had a big advantage in that game. I cannot really tell at which moment. Out of the opening I probably had huge problems. Not probably, I had huge problems. What I'm uncertain of is exactly how you could have killed me, but I'm very certain it was possible. Okay, playing Petri here. Ben Luca Petri is the name. Seems rather young. Even the kids, they play that boring bishop b5 stuff nowadays. Yeah, no, that's actually just want to make a joke here. I actually recommend bishop b5 myself to players because I think it's a good alternative to the open Sicilian. It's not even clear that you have less chances of an advantage than in the open, so why not? e5 is a debatable move, I'm very much aware of it. But what I get is, I get some sort of Ruy Lopez position that I know. Oh, that was bad. Yeah, of course. That was a really mindless move. Yeah. Oh, that helps me a great deal actually. Okay, so knight takes d5 isn't that clear. Knight takes on e7, knight takes queen d6. Not sure about this, but I can play c4 now. Yeah, I'll still be on for like 10 minutes, roughly 10 minutes. Yes, Robin van Kampen is also recommending the bishop b5 Sicilians in his video series here for Chess24. And again, I understand why. You've got chances to play for an advantage, and it is less work, yeah, it requires less work to study. I won a pawn here with this knight takes d5 tactic. Okay, so here I can take it. That's the easiest thing to do. I was just a little bit reluctant to do it because b5 and d6 look a little bit weak. Okay, currently bishop b5, there's bishop c4, so that does not yet work. Oops. I thought that this is fairly convincing. Yeah, I think that wins material. That should win stuff. Yeah, probably a full piece. Yeah, Petri resigns. Yeah, you had a very good position out of the opening. This is really interesting. If you look at this, look back to this position, I think d5 helps me a lot because after c4 I can shut down the position, and my weaknesses are not felt. Yeah, especially b5. The queen side is very weak, so if you don't close the position, I think you have very good chances for an advantage. Yeah. So let's see. Do we have any guys I haven't played? Yes. Ice not premium. Shouldn't do that. Hardy Solis from Belgium. Okie dokie. Solisk. So maybe I get one Banco gambit in. It's always fun. Yes. Let's see what Hardy is doing. Bishop e3, that's quite unusual. I'm not quite sure what he wants to do here. Something like f3 looks very slow. Yeah, here I've got knight g4. I don't know. I think it's an opportunity I should take. Getting his bishop. Then I'll take. I absolutely take your bishop there. Yeah, white has played a counter gambit if you want, but it's a bit too much. Spanisch Repertoire mit Weiß. There is a Spanish repertoire for white, isn't it? There is a Spanish repertoire for white by come on, by Niklas, right? Niklas Huschenbeet has produced a Spanish repertoire for white. Yeah, I also produced something on the Spanish, but my Spanish series is in German language only, first of all, and this is more of an overview. It's not a full repertoire. It's mostly about getting an intro, an idea about the opening. It's not presenting, as I said, a full repertoire. But I think Niklas has a full Spanish repertoire on this side. I'm very, very sure about it. Okay, so he got into e6 here. My extra piece should count for something, though. I don't want to blunder this. That would be kind of embarrassing. Yeah, but he's always tied to the g2 pawn, so should be fairly easy to do. There's a white repertoire for the Rui for Spanish by Niklas Huschenbeet. I'm really quite certain. I don't see a quick mate, strangely enough. I see how I win the queen, but I didn't see a mate. Okay, Hardy resigned. Yeah, okay, he blundered a piece right in the opening. That was the whole game, basically. So, if I have some pending challenge for 3 minutes, I'm going to take it. Okay, I'm playing Max here. I've played him before, but that was the only 3-minute challenge that I had. So, if Max is still around, I'm going to play a 3-minute game and then call it a day. Not sure if he is around, because it, I think, is a longer challenge. I have a longer standing challenge. I have played him before in earlier sessions, but as I said, I wanted a quick 3-minute game. If Max is not around, guys, give me a 3-minute challenge. And I'm going to play it. Okay. Okay, I think Max is probably not around. I understand it was a longer out this challenge. So Sodon Yasti is a 3-minute challenge. So I'm going to take this one and going to play e4 and see what happens. I'll play a King's Gambit for fun. Come on, as the final game. Yeah, there's of course Peter Svidler's series on the Rui with 63. That's also very much, I think, of interest. Yeah, the King's Gambit is an extremely strange opening. I never really understood what's going on there. This one? No. E4 hangs. Well, maybe I can do this, and then queen takes queen e2. It's not that bad. I understand you want to see me trying for checkmate in this opening, but I don't think I could do it. There simply wasn't the potential for it. But here I might have a rather decent position. I think f4 I probably will get back. Yeah, and this is not bad. This is a good position. It's got the check. Okay, but it's 3-minute chess. It's not bad to play quickly. At least I'm ahead on the clock. This is the last game. Okay, the guy who asked that doesn't actually listen to what I'm saying, because he doesn't have sound at the moment, so it doesn't really help what I'm saying here. He doesn't hear it anyway. Okay, I have to take this one. I'm not too happy with how I played this. Really not. Bring the knight to f4. My CPU is high. I don't know why. The only thing I'm doing is I'm streaming this chess show. And it's a pretty decent quad core. I really don't know sometimes. Oh, if I take it, there's bishop e4. I think I can still play that. The rook is attacked. He can take f4. I didn't think rook f4. Maybe I can still play h7. Yeah, here h7, that actually I calculated, but even that doesn't work. Okay. Okay, a knight f6 maybe, this could be interesting. For rook h8. Okay, I will very likely win on time. I know I'm blundering the rook. Okay, that was a longer session, right? And I think it shows a little bit. Knight b4, with mate maybe. Okay, so that was a funky game with the King's Gambit. Thanks for playing, Sodon Yasti. The next session of Banter Blitz with me, I'm not sure about in general. I'll be on next Wednesday, the same time at 8 o'clock in the evening, Central European time. That's my steady time spot that I will be on. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the stream. It was good fun for me. Sorry for the constant drinking. I wasn't quite all right with my voice. Thanks for watching. Till next week. Bye bye.